What is up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again. The Daytona Duels are in the books. Crazy, crazy duels. Probably the craziest ones I have watched in a long, long time. A whole bunch of wrecks, a whole bunch of crashes. They were racing like it was just a normal points-paying race, and I'm not talking about the top 10 finishers getting it. So, the two cars that won tonight, well, there's some controversy. We're going to be talking about all that, but as a little tradition, we're going to do on the channel. The race-winning car we're going to do a color for. So the discount tire car of Austin Cindric won duel number 2, and the McDonald's car of Bubba Wallace won duel number 1. They both had some red on the car, so naturally we're going to do red. Why not? So we're going to rock with that as this week's color of, background color, or technically midweek, because if like a blue car or a green car or whatever wins on Sunday at the Daytona 500, we'll change the color to that. So just a little fun thing we'll do on the channel. Anyways, let's talk dual racing. So first off, I gotta say, massive W by NASCAR. Running the Daytona 500 practice Wednesday morning was one of the coolest things I have ever seen. It took me straight back to like 2013, 2012, watching the cars on track on a Tuesday or a Monday after Daytona 500 qualifying, as they used to qualify a full week before the 500. So just getting up early, seeing cars on track at Daytona, it was like so cool, man. Very nostalgic. Got me geeked up for the Daytona 500. I wish they would make Speed Weeks a actual Speed Weeks thing again, where instead of it being 5 days, it's like 2 weeks. So I unofficially kind of consider Atlanta Super Speedway as Speed Weeks, including with Daytona. Anyway, so let's talk the dual races. Fantastic stuff. Both of the dual races did not disappoint. The first one was more chaotic. The second one was more tame. We have some drivers going home, some drivers moving on. To add context, the Daytona 500 pole sitter's Chase Briscoe. He raced for a little bit, then he got out of Dodge. He did the right thing. They know they have a bullet that can really win the Daytona 500. No reason to put it in a junkyard. And, of course, Austin Cindric qualified outside pole, I believe. So, yeah, he did. And he went out there and raced. So, I know if I had the first 2 spots of the Daytona 500 locked up, I get my pit stall selection. I got all that. Why would I take a car I've been building the last 4 to 5 months? It's your primary for a reason. Why take the risk tearing it up? They got away with it. Cindric did, winning duel number 2. So duel number 1, there was a lot of chaos. You had Chandler Smith, one of the open cars. He said something in his post-race interview. He had a mirror problem, and he came down on the 7 car of Justin Haley, caused a massive crash. I mean, one of the hardest hits in next-gen history. That car slammed into the wall, KO'd that one, missing the Daytona 500. Sucks for Smith. Castro Neves was caught up in it as well. He has the international, what do you call it? International provisional, whatever they call it as. So he's going to be the Daytona 500. That was fascinating. And then Justin Allgaier and then J.J. Yaley racing in the closing laps. It looked like Yaley had it, right? It looked like he was going to be in the Daytona 500, and Justin Allgaier, I don't know if maybe the other drivers in the field are like, hey, we want to help Junior out, and inevitably that 40 car got into the Daytona 500, which I'm just going to say for context, if they would have missed the Daytona 500, that diecast, because they already made the 124 scale, it's actually at Daytona right now. Yeah, crazy. If they would have missed the Daytona 500, that car, that paint scheme would have been iconic, as it was the car that missed the Daytona 500 and got a diecast made, which, if you look back through NASCAR diecast history, I can't remember the last time a specific part-time car got a 164 or 124 made and missed the Daytona 500. It would be a very, very rare instance, I believe. You might have to go back to the 2000s with a lot of the promo diecasts to figure that one out. So anyways, that was fascinating. Justin Allgaier, first attempt to the Daytona 500 since 2015, I believe. And then Dale Jr. with Junior Motorsports, a.k.a. Hendrick 2.0. They get into the 500. That is so cool. So that's going to make it very interesting how they're going to go. It's a Hendrick car, so I don't know. We'll see how that one plays out. Bubba Wallace wins the duel race. It was chaotic. It was like 3 wide, second on back. They had, I think it was 2 or 3 cautions in that duel race. It brought me back to like the late Gen 5 era when they were just going bananas in the duel races, the shootouts, and those early 2010s. They went for it. They were not lollygagging that first duel race. The second duel race, about halfway through it, they were really saving fuel. I mean, like half throttle. I know a lot of people are probably going to complain about that. I don't mind it so much, but it would kind of make it interesting if there was something they could do with the fuel cell on the car. They did this back in 03. They made the fuel cell on the car smaller, so they had to do more pit stops. I wonder if there's something they could do in the future to reduce the positive gains from saving fuel in a plate race. I don't know what they could do. Is it something to do with gearing, fuel cell, fuel burn? I don't know what they could do, but something that would reduce the positive gains you would get by running part throttle in a plate race. But I know a lot of people are probably going to go crazy on that. The second duel race was much more tame. The Fords, they look stout. The Chevys look stout. Toyotas. I mean, there's a lot of really, really good cars for this Daytona 500. I don't see one clear favorite. The Chevys in Duel 1 were really freaking good, and then Penske in Duel number 2. They did pretty much everything except, well, win the race outright without controversy. I'm kidding. So the controversial part is Eric Jones and Austin Cindric coming to the line, and Eric Jones beat Cindric to the line, right? But a caution happened. So, oh boy, here we go. Parker Kligerman, 2024 Roval, right? The caution happens before they get to the stripe. And from what they've shown on television, it's not a clear picture from what I've seen. I do think Cindric was probably ahead because it's at a side angle, and then you have shadows. And for those who don't know, camera lenses can be a little bit weird if they're not a flat shot, if they're more of a curved, camera lens. Regardless, I think they got the correct angle and they made the correct call. Cindric was out by just a craven Kurt Busch front bumper, Darlington 03. When the caution button was pressed, had a pretty bad crash behind him. There's a lot of work that's going to be done Friday to get cars ready to go practicing at Daytona, especially with weather kind of being a little spotty this weekend. They're going to want to get those cars out there and knock the rust off of them ASAP, especially if Saturday's practice doesn't run. So a lot of teams are going to have a lot of work to do. Hendrick, Bowman, and then Larson, they got damage. I think SVG's got damage, and then, of course, Castro Nevis. So there's a lot of drivers that's going to have drama going on. Herbst, Ty Gibbs, a lot of people. So that'll be fascinating. Anyways, Eric Jones pulls up on the front straightaway. He looked like he was the winner. I thought he was because he actually beat Cindric to the line, but it's going to go by when the caution button was pressed. So he's out there ready to celebrate. They say, nope, it's Cindric. And Cindric's already out of the car debriefing with his teammates. So I feel bad for Eric Jones. That would have been really cool to see him win that. So yeah, Cindric and Bubba win the duel races in 2025. Fantastic racing. Both duel races did not disappoint. They were very fun. And so I have to commend the drivers for trying hard. I usually harp on the duel races. I harp on the All-Stars. They don't try. They tried this year. So thank you for putting on a fantastic show. Now let's move forward. Daytona 500, I don't see a clear favorite, but Chase Briscoe's got an extremely fast car. I really like Ross Chastain's car. I'm just saying, he was fast in duel number 1. Elliott and Byron looked really good, and all the Penske cars. I would say that would be my favorite bubble. I know 2311 had 2, really stout cars with Reddick and Wallace, but if I had to pick 6 to 7 cars to be considered the favorites, those would probably be the picks I would make. Upsets. I'm just going to say this, and I don't know if anyone else will agree, and that's fine because my opinions really don't matter. Corey LaJoie's car was extremely fast. I'm just saying, Corey LaJoie, he's driving a one-off start or one of few starts for Rick Ware Racing. That car must have been a very well-prepared car because he was fast in that duel race. So if you're talking about maybe a top 10 sleeper, Corey LaJoie maybe? I don't know. It's going to be fun. Comment down below what y'all thought about tonight's duel races. This will probably be a very late upload. Fantastic stuff. And for context, I picked Ryan Preece in duel number 1. And then for duel number 2, I picked Logano. Naturally, they didn't win it. I have no idea who I'm picking for the Daytona 500. It's going to be fun. Love Speed Weeks. And yes, the pre-orders for the Chase Elliott Bowman Gray win is already available, so you can pre-order that. It's like almost guaranteed to get made. And then you also probably going to get the pre-orders for the Bubba Wallace McDonald's duel number 1 win. And then I don't know if they're going to do Austin Cindric's duel number 2 win because he didn't do a burnout because he was already on pit road debriefing, or at least I don't think he did a burnout. Anyways, if they're available, you'll be able to pre-order those and get yours in your collection whenever they release, which will probably be like 7 months from now. That's besides the point. Thank you all for watching the video. Have a blessed one, everybody. Diecast Buffet signing off.